Hey, welcome back to Just Keep Swinging. So this is another series that I call Golf Literature. Contrary to the friends around me, I actually do enjoy to read. And I definitely won't claim like I read every single day and I have this enormous bookshelf, but it always helps to just keep reading, keep learning. So as I continue my own reading, I thought I'd bring you guys along for the journey. So for the first book I'll be covering, it's called The Inner Game of Golf by Timothy Gallwey. Timothy Gallwey was actually a tennis coach and wrote a book previous to this called The Inner Games of Tennis. But he really likes to dive into more of the mindset and mental hurdles you have to jump through to really improve your game. I like the way Gallwey breaks down how important the mental game is to golf. And he's got a lot of nice gems that I think a beginner golfer can pick up as they continue along their golf journey. So in the first chapter, Gallwey starts off by really breaking down what golf is all about. And he uses that with one word: control. Control. On page 7, he reads, basically, it seemed to be a matter of getting your body to do what you want it to do so that you can make the golf ball do what you want it to do. That's Gallwey just simply breaking down that the real challenge in golf is for the golfer to gain control of their body way more than the golfer gaining control of the golf ball. From there, he then transitions into the disrupting effects of over-instruction. Doing too damn much, teaching too much, talking too much. Simply telling our bodies to do something is not the most effective way in terms of improving performance. Our muscles definitely don't understand English, and our thinking minds don't really understand hand-eye coordination. Through my own experiences of teaching golf, about 70% of my golf lesson is really more of a shrink or a therapist, and the other 30% is the actual golf skill and technique. So through his experiences, he found that it's way more effective to work from inside out, to focus more on the inner game than necessarily the outer game as much. And for the student themselves, you watching this video, you have to embrace the inner game as well. So from there, Gallwey makes a transition into introducing these 5 categories that are evoked by the game of golf. The lure of the game, the precision that it requires, the competitive pressures of golf, the competitive pressures of the golfer, the extremely unique pace of the game of golf, and the obsession with the mechanics of the swing. So number 1, the lure of the game. So golf is one of the very few sports to where even a novice, a first-time player, can have the same success as a 40-year plus veteran and a champion of the game. Those 2 or 3 triumphs that you have in golf can be remembered long after the failures and mediocre play that you really produce as a golfer. 2, the precision that it requires. The margin of error for golf is extremely low. Hitting a ball just 1 or 2 degrees off with your driver can turn a straight shot into a duck hook or just a demoralizing slice. And think about it, in golf, the golfer is initiating a lot of the action that happens in the sport. Where in other sports, there are a lot of moments where the player themselves are reacting to an action made by an opponent. A golfer has to be so disciplined and strict on their setup towards the ball that it almost becomes a ritual. If you're inconsistent with your setup in golf, you're going to be inconsistent with everything else you try to do. 3, the competitive pressures of the golfer. So in golf, there is no teammate to blame. It's just you. There's no wingman who missed a 3-point shot, or there's no quarterback who's throwing interceptions in the 4th quarter, allowing the Bengals to get in position and kick a field goal to win the game. Because the game of golf is inherently a game of the golfer against him or herself, the inner game is intensified even more. The ego of the golfer thrives and dies with every single shot, hole, and opportunity they have during the golf round. A player's spirit really seems to rise or sink in direct proportion to the player's golf score. 4, the unique pace of the game. In golf, you got way too much time to think in between golf shots compared to basketball or football, even tennis. You don't even have enough time because the next play is coming. So what does that mean? That is a lot of room for overanalyzation. Too much thinking. The time it takes to actually hit a golf shot is 2 seconds. An average 18-hole golf round is between 4.5 and 5 hours, especially depending on how many drinks you may have. So within that time frame, there's really only about 3 minutes worth of actual shot making in the 4.5 to 5 hours that you're playing. Those intervals of walking or riding in between the shots are what's really critical to your performance on the course. The golfer's mental equilibrium can either be destroyed by a momentum of negative thoughts or employed to take off the tension of that last shot to really prepare for the next one. Over time, the more you continue to play, the inner golfer inside you figure out ways to relax your mind. That way you have more than enough energy to focus on the next shot. Never want to get too high, never want to get too low. And number 5, the obsession with the mechanics of the golf swing. Any golfer you ever come in contact with loves a good helpful tip. However, just like in life, not all the tips are the best. My favorite golf tips to hate on are the ones titled with the secret to whatever you're trying to fix. The secret to how to fix a slice. The secret to how to chip the ball better. The secret to how to be more noticed by the cart girl or boy. Shout out to all the cart boys out there. There's like a handful of them somewhere. Those secrets are usually forgotten once there are a couple of poor shots and the person's hope just starts to wane. While some tips are definitely helpful, especially the ones that you see on this page, there's not one tip that's ever going to solve your entire golf game. Someone who's playing the first day can sink a 50-foot putt straight out the crack of their butt the same way somebody's been playing for 20 years. The happiest and best golfers are the ones who've accepted that there's no real gimmick or quick fix that's going to help you master the game. The happiest and best golfers are the ones that have already accepted that there's no gimmick that's going to help you master the game. Good golf is only attained by having patience and humility. Mix that with repetition, but repetition not only practicing your outer game and mechanics, but practicing your inner game
did it again
as well. So in conclusion, the real aim of the inner game of golf is to just close the extremely wide gap between our potential and our actual performance, to open the way to higher and more constant levels of enjoyment of the game. A lot of teachers know way more about the golf swing than me, but a lot of them don't know much about to help golfers learn it. Golf gets deep. You'll find yourself learning how to overcome real things that you got going on in life, like self-doubt, lapse in concentration, self-anger, and even low self-esteem. But you don't really have a choice when it comes to playing the inner game with yourself. It's always going on. The only question Gallwey would ask you through chapter 1 is if you are consciously playing the inner game. And if you are you winning or are you losing? Only you really know.